Okay, hello everyone and welcome to our Getting Back to Work presentation. My name is Liliana Ortiz and I'm part of Student Support Services. Today we do have our director, Dr. Wayne Dulio, who would like to say a few words before we get started.
Good afternoon. I certainly want to thank all of our students that are participating. This topic, I can't think of a better topic for student participation at this time. And then also I wanted to thank the entire Student Support Service team for putting this together, Liliana, Tiano, Veronica, and I hope I'm not leaving anyone out, but thank you, good luck. There's a number of these types of workshops, so good luck, and let Torrance Adult School help you with your goal, and in this particular case, getting back to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dulio. So to get started, today we're going to be talking about in-demand industries, jobs, and skills, what to expect during COVID-19, how to handle long unemployment periods, building a portfolio, job search, degree translation and evaluation, and what's next. These topics are very relevant to our students today. And just to kind of let you know, the presentation will be an overview of these topics. I know that we can spend a whole day talking about each individual topic. However, because we only have an hour, we're going to give you guys a general overview, and hopefully you guys will be able to learn a lot of good things that will help you in your job preparation. Additionally, after this presentation or webinar, if you are interested in learning about any of these topics a little bit more, or you need individual assistance, Student Support Services is available to help you on an individual level. So to talk about in-demand jobs and skills, I think this is a very important topic right now because of COVID. You know, a lot of industries closed their doors or they laid off people. However, what's happening is the state is starting to reopen. So you're going to see a lot of changes within the next couple months, within the next couple years. And I'll talk about those changes in a bit. But first, we want to look at our labor market information. And this labor market information basically is data compiled by the BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And basically what they do is they gather data on employment projections. So what you can expect in terms of the number of jobs that are going to open, the number of jobs that are have a high growth rate, or the ones that are maybe not going to be doing so well within the next couple years. This information, you can actually find it through EDD, which is the Employment Development Department. And for Los Angeles, you'll see this table. And in this table, you'll see the industries that are going to be highly in demand for the next 5 years. And this data is updated every couple of years. But for the next 5 years to 2026, you can expect an increase in some of these industries. For example, in construction, you'll see an 18.1% increase in terms of the number of jobs that can be expected within the next couple of years. That's a lot. So you're going to see a lot of construction jobs opening. Manufacturing, you see a huge decrease of 14.6%. And you're probably wondering why that's happening. Remember, in some of the industries, automation is now playing a bigger role. So companies are using different technology to do some of the jobs that maybe more people would be doing. So manufacturing, you can expect a decrease, but then you see another big increase in the trade, transportation, utilities. Transportation, remember what's happening. People are now shopping online. They're doing more things online. So what does that mean? That means an increase in delivery. It means an increase in transportation services overall. And it's not just delivery, by the way. It can mean, the transportation of products from a warehouse to a store, or from, it can also mean the transportation of people. So air transportation, Uber, things like that. So there's going to be a big increase in those types of jobs. Information is also increased. Information meaning like any sort of communication, whether it be newspaper, radio, it can even be data processing. Financial activities, so insurance, real estate, that's what financial activities means for this particular table. Professional and business services. This is a little bit wider, a 10.5 increase. This specific category includes our accountants. So accounting jobs will be in high demand. Business-related jobs, including administrative assistants, office assistants, will be in a big demand within the next 5 years. Same for educational services and healthcare and social assistance. So our healthcare industry is always booming. It's not going anywhere. As you can see, 3.9% increase between the educational, healthcare, and social assistance industries. And then you see the others, leisure and hospitality, you can expect a huge increase as well. And then government, light, the other services normally involve items that are not included within any of the other field. So this is very important to know because as you're planning your career and preparing to return to work, you want to make sure that you prepare the skills that you will need to work in a field that is going to be lasting for a while, right? A field that's going to have a lot of jobs. And that is very important. If your industry, for example, is not doing so well, that tells you, okay, maybe I should start thinking about getting training for a different field. Or maybe I should start kind of just exploring to see what these other fields are, and do I have any experience that I can transfer to that new field? So think about that as you're preparing for your job search. Now, what skills are needed for these fields? It really varies, to be honest. What happens is some fields, like the medical fields, will require you to be able to do like injections, maybe read patient charts. It's different than someone who's an accountant, right? Or an office worker. If you're an office worker, you should be able to use the phone. You should be able to use Microsoft Office. If you're in accounting, you should be able to do read a general ledger and do the updates. You should have great math skills. So it really varies depending on the field that you're going to. However, there is a way to determine what kind of skills you need in order to work in these industries. One way is to review job descriptions or postings to see the qualifications. When you go online, you do a simple search for, let's say, an accounting job. The jobs most of the time will tell you the qualifications and what the employers are looking for. That gives you a great idea of the skills that you're going to need. And if you don't have those skills, then it's the perfect time to start preparing and gaining those skills. You can also check out ONET. So ONET is actually funded by the Department of Labor, the US Department of Labor. And basically it's a website where you can search any job that you can think of, let's say nursing, and it'll tell you what the education requirements may be and what kind of skills you need. It also tells you what the number, kind of the employment projections for your state. So for example, it may tell you that there's a 5% increase within California for nursing. It's probably more because there's high demand within the healthcare field, but that's just an example. So I do encourage you guys to look at ONET. It's a really great website. The BLS also has that information. They're both connected. So if you want to look at either or, I highly encourage you guys to do that. Now, in terms of general skills in demand, so while all industries might have different skills that are going to be required to do those jobs, there are some skills that are general that you can expect across many jobs. And these skills we call transferable skills because you can apply these skills to different tasks. So some of those skills include adaptability. Adaptability is really important right now, and you probably know why. If you saw last year what happened during COVID, we need to work from home for some of us, right? Or maybe people were out sick and now you had to do some of their duties to help out the company, right? So the idea of being adaptable, being open to change is very important in any industry that you go to. And if you do have the skill, it's really going to help you in your career because you're going to be able to keep growing and transfer from one job to another. So adaptability is not only, being able to do something, but it's also kind of a mindset. So remember, adaptability is key. Flexibility as well. So being flexible, I know it's very difficult sometimes to be flexible with your schedule because you have kids. Maybe you're in school. Maybe you're taking care of someone who is sick. It's difficult, I know, to be flexible, but there's not only flexibility in terms of schedule, there's also flexibility in terms of the type of work you do. So sometimes what happens is you might be in a job and you may be asked to work on a new project related to your position. You should be flexible and be open to trying these new tasks because it can lead you and help you grow. It can lead you to to a better job or maybe even a promotion. So having the flexible mindset is important. Collaboration, obviously, communication, both written and verbal. I know we have a lot of our ESL students. I commend you guys for practicing your English. I encourage you to keep going with your English classes. Emotional intelligence. So not only being able to understand other people, so being able to understand people are different, people have different ideas, different cultures, different way of doing things, but also being able to understand yourself. That's very important because then you'll be able to know what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, and how does that affect your work. Being able to understand yourself and understand others is very, very important because it's going to help you work better with others. If you're in a client customer service type of position, even more important because you have to be able to understand the customer. I know things aren't always easy. And it's kind of difficult to kind of evaluate yourself, but emotional intelligence is something that we will continue to work on throughout our entire lives. So definitely think about working on your emotional intelligence or working on your own awareness. So self-awareness and awareness of what's going on in your environment. The other things are kind of common as well: data analysis and problem solving, time management, and digital literacy. So digital literacy means being able to use not only is digital literacy mean knowing how to, but the ability to use technology like a smartphone, computer, tablet, and software like Microsoft Office, Google Apps. In the past, these technologies were kind of something that were new. Maybe they were considered advanced skills, but now they're kind of more basic skills. So there's those are skills that we should have if we want to work in specific industries, right? Like if we want to work as an office assistant or an accountant, we should have some of these skills because we're going to be using the computer a lot. If you don't have these skills, no problem. We can definitely help you to build these skills. We have some classes for ESL students, for our ABE, ASE students, and for our regular ACT students. It's never too late to learn. As I like to think, even for us who are working at the school, even for professionals who have years of experience, learning is really a lifelong process. You kind of have to keep building your skills and keep learning because things change all the time. So in terms of a new workforce, what's going to happen now that COVID, not just that COVID happened, but what's going to happen in the future, right? What is happening in the workforce? Well, you can expect more flexible work environments. So maybe working remotely and virtually. Now, not all employers will stay online. So, not all of them will stay, but maybe some of them will consider offering that flexible schedule. Use of digital communication platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Adobe Connect is another one that employers use. Connectivity and collaboration. So being able to connect online or through the phone and being able to collaborate is very important. Automation is probably going to continue to take over some of the processes, and that's okay because remember what happens with automation. Someone still has to oversee, right, the technology or the machines that are used. So there's still going to be opportunity. It's just going to be a little bit different. A flexible mindset like we spoke about, and then the gig economy. So a gig economy, what does that mean? A gig economy basically is the freelance work, or it can be short-term work, delivery. That's something, that's very big in a gig economy. Can be providing like a service to a company, something short. You can expect a lot of that work because some employers are probably going to be needing employees for a short period of time. There's nothing wrong with the gig economy, but if anything, it's positive for some of us because it kind of can help us get back to work. And also help us in the meantime as we're going to school or maybe training, right? Training for the job that we do want. So what to expect during COVID? I think this is very important for all of us because the economy is opening and you want to make sure that you're prepared to return to work. So definitely one of the biggest things that we need to be aware of is staying safe at work. So worker protections under the California law basically state that regardless of your immigration status, you have the right to protection from safety and health hazards, including COVID-19. You have the right to report an unsafe workplace and a right to refuse to work in unsafe conditions. It's illegal for your employer to reduce your hours, fire you, or retaliate against you for exercising your labor rights. This is very important for you to know. And the reason why we share it with you is because not everyone knows this, and we do apply some of these, all of these laws here at our school too. So we want to make sure that you guys are protected at your work. Now, all this information is available through the Department of Industrial Relations, and there's a link down there next to source where you can find more information. So make sure you guys are aware of this because I know some of you are going to be returning to work and maybe you might not feel comfortable if your employer is not following the rules. Here's a website that can help you kind of know what is expected from your employer. Now, employer responsibilities under the California law, they're required to protect workers from unsafe or unhealthy workplace conditions such as exposure to COVID. This requires employers to provide workers with face coverings, adjust work processes or procedures to help prevent exposure to COVID-19, develop a written COVID-19 prevention program, and provide effective training to all workers and more. So under the law, workers have a right to file a complaint about workplace safety and health hazards, and employers cannot retaliate or punish them for doing so. Okay, so that's very, very important. And also I want to, this is also kind of reassuring because we know that the state is working with employers to make sure that employees can work in a safe environment. Again, you can find more information at the DIR website, which is the Department of Industrial Relations. But those are the responsibilities from the employer. Now, I'm sorry if there's a lot of noise in the background, they're cutting the grass, so hopefully you guys can hear me. I'll try to talk a little bit louder. So in terms of the job market, so what is happening or what we can expect to happen as the market is reopening. You can expect a more competitive job market. So why is that? So employers are going to open, or some of them have already reopened, but there's some industries that are going to take a little while to reopen, right? So as they start reopening, there's going to be jobs that are going to be added to the market, right? But there's going to be a lot of people who are going to come off of unemployment at some point that are going to need work. So you can expect to be competing with these individuals to find work. Is there enough work? Maybe there is, maybe there's not, but you just have to be prepared. I think if you're prepared, you have a high chance of finding work quicker. But I just wanted you to be very patient because the market is going to take a while for it to recover. So number two, you can expect like a slow reopening, recovery in some of the industries, right? Like hospitality, you kind of start hearing things about them reopening, rehiring. Just be patient. They will reopen, but first they have to, wait until they get the approval from the state, right? You can expect a flexibility in jobs. So some employers may be offering only part-time right now versus the long-term jobs. And with them, what happens is, just give me 1 second as they pass by.
Liliana, we can hear you fine. We actually don't hear anything else, so you can
Okay,
keep
great. No, great. That's great. It's just on my end, I hear it a lot louder, so it's kind of difficult for me to hear myself as well. So, but thank you. That's good to know that you guys can hear me, not so much our district cutting the grass. But in terms of flexibility in jobs, so you guys know short-term versus long-term, like I mentioned, you can expect more short-term jobs for now as the economy is recovering, but also let's say there's not that many jobs right now and you need to return to work because maybe your unemployment is ending, or maybe you just don't have a job and you want to go back. Short-term jobs may be a great way for you to kind of get your foot in the door and start gaining that experience and preparing for the long-term jobs. So do consider taking a short-term job for now, knowing that it might lead to a long-term job, okay? Also expect more virtual recruitment, so job fairs, networking, and interviews. Do participate in those because it's a great way for you to meet employers and let them know that you're interested in a job. Expect to apply to multiple jobs as well. Remember, the first job that you apply to may not be the job you end up getting, and that's fine. It's a process that is kind of continuing. Sometimes what happens is if you don't get that first job, maybe that job wasn't meant for you. Maybe a better opportunity is going to come, right? So you just have to keep applying. And then working from home is something else you can kind of expect in some industries, not all. For those that are working from home, it may be temporary, right? It may be temporary. Some employers may tell you, you're only going to be working home until, we can get back on campus. For some, it might be permanent. So just remember that, that working from home is not always guaranteed. So you be prepared because the employers can either go back to the office or they can continue online. It really depends. It also depends on the ability to follow those safety procedures that the state is the Department of Public Health is telling us we need to follow, right? So in terms of long unemployment periods, now, some of us have been in unemployment for a while. And what I mean by unemployment, so generally unemployment means that someone who maybe was laid off or hasn't been working for a for a couple years. Those people who haven't worked at all, they're not technically considered unemployed. They've just never been in the workforce, so they'll be new. But when I'm talking about unemployment right now, I'm really referring to just anyone who's unemployed or anyone who's not employed at this moment. So important thing to do when you are employed or never have had a job, especially as an adult, is to assess your situation. This is very, very important because this is going to tell us how do we communicate to the employer maybe long unemployment periods. I'm just going to give you guys a general kind of overview right now. We will be, just so you know, we will be discussing this topic a little bit more in maybe the resume. So how to write in unemployment, how to fill in long-term unemployment periods on your resume. And then during the interview workshop, we'll also be talking about how to talk about unemployment periods. But for now, the first step, assessing your situation. So why are you unemployed? Were you laid off because of COVID? If you were laid off because of COVID, a lot of us were affected by COVID, remember. So the employer is going to understand what happened, especially if you're like working in an industry that like food where they had to close down. It's kind of for us, it's understandable that you weren't working because you couldn't, right? The restaurants were closed, hospitality was closed. Another reason might be children. So if you do have children, did you take long periods of time to take care of your children? Why were you unemployed? There's no issue with taking that time off, but if you do have children, that's the reason why you haven't been working. You want to think about, have I volunteered maybe in my child's school? Have I been active in the community? Have I been taking classes? The reason why I say that is because you want to make sure that when you prepare your resume that you do include things that you've been doing while you've been taking care of your children or maybe taking care of a loved one that have helped you to prepare for a job or help you keep your skills current, right? So you always want to stay active. So if you are taking time to take care of your children, that's great. But if you're here, it's probably because you're taking one of our classes at Torrance Adult School. That's good. Keep taking classes. Keep working on your skills. That will look good on your resume, and it will keep you something to kind of show the employer that you are ready to work, right? Same with school. On your resume, if you've been unemployed for long periods of time and you've been in school, it tells us that you've been training. Um, if you're a full-time student, it definitely makes a little bit more sense. You're a part-time student, we want to see also, have you been involved on your campus? Have you been part of any other groups? What have you done, again, to improve your skills during this time? Okay, so think about that. What have you been doing? If you're disabled, disability sometimes affects our ability to do work or do certain tasks. As it, we do have a great resource. It's called Department of Rehabilitation, or DOR. And basically what they do is they help you get to back to work. So when you're disabled, there's going to be certain accommodations that you may need, and the training may differ, right, depending on your disability. So for individuals that are disabled, again, the Department of Rehabilitation has a training program that can help you get the training that you need to work in the field that you may want to enter, and then they'll also help you find a job. So if you are disabled and you're interested in learning about DOR, let us know. We can definitely do the referral. Definitely don't let that keep you from moving forward. If your goal is to find employment, there's always a way. How long have you been employed? A year, more than a year? That's very important, because if you've been employed for a really long time, you want to make sure that you show that, again, that you've been working on those skills, right? That you've been going to school, that you've been volunteering, or maybe you've been part of an organization, even like a church group, right? Maybe you're part of organizing something. That all looks great, but we definitely want to be able to show that you are involved, so that the employer sees that your skills are up to date or current. So number 3, 4 are kind of what I've been mentioning. What have you done during this time to keep your skills current? Are you involved in any activities that show you have the skills needed for the job? Can be volunteer work. You can be part of groups, like I mentioned, church groups, maybe your children's PTA. Are you taking classes? What have you done? If you haven't done anything, don't worry, it's not too late. I always encourage you to, start getting involved at any point. That's fine. We can help you find volunteer opportunities. We can help you enroll in training programs. There's a lot out there that can help you. And then the last question I have here is, do you have experience in education in the job? That's very important, because if you have old education or old experience, that definitely gives you a little bit of advantage, but you want to make sure that if you're unemployed for really long periods of time, that you take a refresher course, so that you can get up to date with the current laws, right? For example, if you're a tax accountant, the laws change every year. So for those individuals, if they haven't worked in taxes for a really long time, it's highly recommended they take a tax class to get up to date with the new codes. Okay, so again, this is the first step if you're unemployed, is assessing your situation, because it's going to help you explain your unemployment, and will also help you kind of prepare your resume, so the employer sees that you are ready to work. Now, to prepare to return your work, the first thing, build your skills. Very, very important for everyone, even if you're not unemployed. If you are a current employee, keep building your skills. That's very important. Volunteer, externship or internship. Externship or internship, so are normally for individuals that are currently enrolled in a school program. For example, for us, we have our allied health program for pharmacy tech, medical billing coding, and medical assisting. These students do enter an externship where they gain experience. Sometimes they get hired. So that's a great opportunity for you if you're interested in that. Part-time or temp jobs, if you haven't been working for a really long time, or you have never worked, definitely consider part-time or temporary jobs, so you can start getting your foot back in the door, and also so you can gain that experience that you may need. Participate in hobbies related to your job. For example, if you are into digital design and you want to be a digital designer, you definitely want to be able to create different graphics, right? Have like your own portfolio online, or your own website, to be able to show to the employer, this is what I've created, this is what I can do. So definitely participate in hobbies related to the job that you want. Become a contractor. You can always become self-employed if that's what you would prefer doing. Network. That's so important. I have to tell you that oftentimes it's all about your ability to network, meet people, right? Because some places are going to be very difficult to get into. But if you know someone, maybe they can give you information on how to prepare for the job, what to expect, so you yourself can upgrade your skills and be able to submit like a resume application that will give you a higher chance of getting a job. So networking is very important. You never know, you may come across owner of a restaurant, owner of a business that might have an opportunity that's just fit for you. So networking is important, and we'll talk about how to do that in a bit. Be flexible in your job search, type of job and schedule. When you're going back to work, you definitely want to be flexible. I know that's difficult, like I mentioned before, because we have children, we have loved ones we need to take care of, we have school, maybe we don't have transportation, but just having a little bit more flexibility, knowing exactly when you cannot work is important to know, and then working around that is good. But having just a little bit of flexibility will be helpful, because it's going to open up the opportunities for you. Be prepared to explain your unemployment. For that, just be honest. Be honest. Don't be negative. Don't talk rudely about your old boss, your old employer. You never want to do that. Just be honest. You got laid off. Maybe it could be COVID. Maybe there's an issue with trade, and they had to lay off people, right? Just be honest, interact, and show them that you're really eager and ready to return to work. That's the key, showing that you're eager and ready to return to work, and that you want to work for this company. That's very, very important, and we're going to talk about that in our interview presentation, how to talk to an employer about your interest in the company and how to talk about yourself. So remember, be honest. And I wrote down there, it's important to remain active. Regardless of what you decide to do, it's important just to keep being active and being involved in building your skills. So building a portfolio, what do you need? This is something that you should definitely consider having, regardless of what job you're applying to. It's important to have it because in your long term, through the course of your career, you're going to need a portfolio. And what I mean by portfolio is basically like a collection of different documents that you will need. So your resume is very important. So you can have a CV, which is longer, has all your experience, that's fine. But when you're submitting a resume to a job, you're going to submit a resume that's tailored to that job. You're not going to submit everything that you've done, because if it's not related to the job, it's just the information that is related to the job is going to get lost. So you should have a resume. Right here, I wrote resume that is tailored to the job. For your portfolio, it's best to just have a general resume. And then when you apply to a job, have a tailored resume, okay? Not all jobs need a resume, but it's important to be prepared and always have one just in case, right? And you want to be building your resume throughout your career. So you want to have all that information on one paper just in case you have to go back. Have a separate list of jobs with the address, supervisor name, contact information, employment dates. This is so important. I have to tell you, throughout my own career, when I was applying to jobs, I always forgot this piece, and it was stressful, because sometimes when I would go to a job interview, they would ask me for information about my boss. I didn't have it. Right. I didn't want to take out my phone, because if I take out my phone, to me, it looks a bit unprofessional. I want to make sure that I'm prepared and have this information. What happens is, for certain jobs, they may call you for an interview and tell you to come in, and then give you a job application to fill out. You want to make sure that you have that information already in your portfolio. And all you have to do is just copy it, right? So have that. And plus, when you're submitting a job application, what happens? Most applications will read the information from your resume, right? But it doesn't always carry over properly, right? You can edit your resume in a particular way so it does carry over, but maybe you're not going to include all this information, like your supervisor name, on your resume, right? So you want to have that separate. Have a cover letter if applicable. I would encourage you to just have a general one for now and then have one that's tailored. 2 to 3 references, no family, please. No, no, no family. It can be your teachers. It can be maybe leaders of any groups that you participate in. It can even be old coworkers. That's fine, or current coworkers. That's fine. But no family. You want people who can talk about who you are as a person, but also as a worker, right? Examples of your work, if applicable, if you're a photographer, a graphic designer, a writer, you want to have examples of your work to show just in case. Most people are doing websites online, that's fine, but make sure that you have examples of your work if it applies to the job. Awards or certificates, if you get certificates from our school, for example, our accounting students, if you finish accounting 1 and 2 or 1 and 2 separate times, you'll get a certificate. Same with QuickBooks, if you pass the test, or Microsoft Office, you pass any of their tests, you will get a certificate showing that you have passed the test. Make sure to keep that. Degrees, some employers will ask for a copy. Typing tests, if applicable, and then preparation for employment exams. So just a little note, preparation for employment exams is not something that you will actually have in your portfolio. I just wrote this because I want you guys to be aware that for certain jobs, they may ask you to do certain tests, right? Maybe they'll ask you to do some items on Excel. Maybe they'll ask you to do like a grammar test. You want to just be prepared. So that's why I put it there, so you know that some jobs will require that. Now, all these documents, you can leave it in a Pathfolio, which is like in this picture, or like a regular folder. If you don't need to have a fancy folder like that. You can have any folder that you purchase at maybe at the dollar store. However, just make sure that the folder is like a neutral color, like dark blue, white, or like black. That way it won't be too distracting. Also, make sure you don't have any labels on there, so that it doesn't, again, become a distraction during the interview. Now, keep a copy of these documents digitally. Always keep a copy. I've heard a couple times, I've had a few individuals who have lost their resume or they can't find it. Please keep it in your computer at all times, so that in case you need to access it in the future, you can. I encourage you, if you have Gmail, sometimes what happens is you can use the Google Drive to save your documents. That way, if something happens to your computer, you can always go back. Some other email platforms also have something similar to the Google Drive. Definitely save all your documents in this or somewhere where they can stay safe, just in case you do lose your computer or can't access your computer. So for the job search, there's 2 different types of markets that we normally talk about, which is the visible and hidden market. At some point, these markets are starting to merge, just because a lot of things are now online, and the way we job search, the way we interact with our the employers and recruiters is changing a bit. But generally, a visible job market includes like newspaper ads, the billboards, flyers, employment service agencies, online job search, and business websites. And basically, these are job places where you can actually go and look and see the jobs, right? These are all great places to look for. Obviously, depending on the type of job that you want, you're going to be using some of these more than others. And we should go to the next one. The hidden market is a little bit different. So what I mean by the hidden market is networking. So using your network, your family, your friends, neighbors, maybe previous employers, even your own teachers, to find work, because sometimes they'll have opportunities, or maybe they'll be connected to employers that have opportunities and they can recommend you, right? Job fairs, networking events, there's tons of them going on. You should be online on social media if you're not, because they often post job networking events, job fairs that you can join, and you'll have a better chance of meeting the employer through there and getting your foot in the door. LinkedIn is another one. I really do like LinkedIn. If you guys haven't used LinkedIn, I can teach you guys on an individual level. But for LinkedIn, it allows you to upload your portfolio, so your information about your jobs. It helps you search for jobs and connect to recruiters who are online. So this is definitely a great resource for you if you haven't used LinkedIn. Even social media, what's going on with social media, there is groups of people looking for a job. They even have a job group page where you can go and search, different jobs. Or what happens is employers actually will go there and maybe put up information about jobs. So they'll add flyers, recruitment events. So there's a lot of opportunity. Same with your children's school. You never know. Maybe there'll be a position to be like an assistant or to help out in some ways. There's many different avenues where you can find jobs, but definitely networking is very, very important. The other thing that I think a lot of people aren't comfortable with, but I think it really works, is contacting the employer directly to inquire about job opportunities. Um, Again, most of the time we'll be like, well, let me just search. That's fine. If you want to search and see if that will work for you, that's fine. But sometimes some employers are smaller and they don't always post, or maybe they need help, but they just haven't gone to posting or they don't know how to. A good way to know if an employer is hiring is actually to just contact them, right? So for accountants or office workers, let's say for accounting, if you know the CPA firm that's local in the Torrance area, feel free to contact them and ask them, do you have any opportunities? I'm a student. I am highly interested in your company. This is what I've learned, and I'm flexible as well. Obviously, there's more to that conversation, but that's a great way to kind of see if they have a job opportunity and can be your entry into that field. And I've actually done that a couple of times with some students already, and they got internships and they got jobs from that. But when you do reach out to an employer, you always want to be ready. Never just reach out and say, hey, do you have jobs, right? Never ever just do that. You want to go in with your resume already ready to go, right? You want to go in with a general cover letter explaining what you're looking for, right? And you want to go in with a couple questions just in case the employer allows you to have that conversation with them, right? So questions about their company, the opportunities that they have, how you can get started. If they don't have any opportunities, will they have opportunities in the future? And if they do, what would they be looking for in their candidates? That way you can prepare and they see that you are interested in working for them. So again, when you're contacting employers, always go prepared, and we can definitely help you with that if you're interested in going this route. Now, accessing the hidden market, like I mentioned, you can call the employer to ask about jobs that are being advertised. You would start off by sending a letter of interest or even like a cover letter and your resume to the HR department or to the specific managers if that's available. Sometimes it's simply just sending an email to their general email address that they have on their website. Sometimes it's just giving them a call. Networking recruiters via LinkedIn. If you come across a recruiter, you can always send them a message. Not everyone is open to messages, but it doesn't hurt to try. Participate in career fairs and or networking events. Very, very great way of connecting with different people. Now, here are some job search websites. So South Bay Jobs on Facebook. This is a page offered by the One Stop Web. Very, very great page. They have tons and tons of job opportunities and job fairs for all industries. If you guys haven't followed our partner, the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, please search South Bay Jobs and follow them. They have a lot of great opportunities. LinkedIn, Indeed, CalJobs, and all these other websites are great websites to job search. EdJoin, if you are looking for a school job, EdJoin will be the place for you to go. Now, some districts may use their own employment system a little bit more. So you may have to look into on their website if you're interested in a specific school district, but many of the jobs are available on EdJoin. And there's obviously more depending on the industry that you want to go to, but these are some of the websites that we often use often. Now, just to get through this kind of quickly, degree translation and evaluation. Um, so why should you get your degree translated or evaluation? If you want to attend college or university, there are some programs that will require you to get your degree translated or evaluated. It's not required for all, but if you're looking, for example, for a master's, a PhD, or something higher, they may tell you, I want to see your bachelor's degree. I want your transcript translated and evaluated because we want to be able to make sure you meet the requirements for the program. If you plan to seek licensure or certification in a field that requires state or national certification, they're probably going to ask you for either a certified translation and or the evaluation. So, for example, if if you want to be a teacher here in you taught in your country, there are certain requirements that you have to meet to be a teacher. Obviously, passing the CBES, meeting the educational requirements. But part of that process is going to require you to submit your transcript. If you're from a different country, that means getting your transcripts translated and most likely evaluated. And the Teacher Credentialing Commission in California, they have their specific agencies that they want you to use to get that done. For nursing and a doctor license, it's a little bit different, but it's going to be the same process where they may ask you to provide your translation and your evaluation. Now, not all jobs require you to have this. So, most of the time, again, it's for those people that do require some sort of license or certification to work in a specific field. It doesn't hurt to have it, especially if you're applying for a job that requires maybe a bachelor's or a master's. It doesn't hurt to have it. But there are some industries where the skills that are used in that job are applicable across the world, right? So marketing is one of those things. It's the same, maybe nursing. It is the same concepts. But what happens when you're in the U.S.? They may have stricter requirements. They want more training. So that's why they ask you for the translation and the evaluation, because they want to make sure that you do meet the standards that we have here, right? So again, if the job requires you to have a certain degree, often the specialized jobs, then you may want to consider getting your transcript translated and evaluated. Important way to kind of determine if you want it or need it is, do the practices in that field vary by country? If they do, you might consider getting it translated and evaluated. If you're not sure, you can always ask us and we can let you know what employers are looking for or what is required in the state, if there is any requirements. Not all jobs require state certifications or licenses. Now, what does the evaluation do? It basically verifies the authenticity of the documents. It verifies that the translation is correct. It provides information about the student academic history. So basically, it verifies that you were the one that got the degree. It verifies the accreditation of the institution and provides a description of the program. Oops. So there's 2 steps to getting your document translated. The first step is to get the document translated from your language to English, which is a certified translation. The second step is the document evaluation, which evaluates the whether your classes are equivalent to classes here, right? So again, not all jobs will require you to get a document translation or evaluation. The requirements depend on the occupation, okay? The licensing boards may have certain agencies they want you to use to complete your evaluation, okay? So if that's the case, you have to look to see what the licensing boards are looking for. For example, with pharmacy technicians, the Board of Pharmacy has their own requirements. For them, it's a little bit different. They're open to different agencies, but like the Teaching Commission, they have a specific agencies they want you to use. So it's important to look at the license requirements for the recommended agency. You can visit our website, the student support website, which is this link bit.ly/TAS support, where you'll find information about different agencies that you can use. Okay, so last part of the presentation, and then we'll take any questions that you may have. Just to pause for a bit, I know that I spoke a lot about a lot of about different topics. I mean, we went very, very quickly. I understand that. Just a reminder, this will be recorded. So if you miss something, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube, and also get it translated if you need to through YouTube. In addition to that, some of these topics we can again go individually with you and review them based on your situation. Okay, so if you missed anything, don't worry. We'll definitely be able to help you with that. So what is next? So student support services, we can help you through every step of the way. And I really do mean that because what we do is, we don't only help you with enrolling you in our classes, we can help you with transitioning into a training program. We can help evaluate your goals, even your strengths and weaknesses. If you need help kind of determine what skills you need to work on, we can help you with all that in order for you to be better prepared for your job search. So like it says here, we can help you through every step of the way. So we can help you develop a plan, help you find training, enroll in career technical education. If you want to go college or occupational school, we have a lot of connections that can help you. We can help you with the job search, preparing your resume, practicing interviewing, and then refer you to our partners. So if there's something that our partners do really well, or they have a program that, it can definitely benefit you, then we can definitely refer you to our partners. So how can TAS, so how can the school in general help you? Well, we do have some of these programs, and you guys are most likely are enrolled in one of these programs or multiple of these programs. But for those who don't know, if you don't have your high school diploma or equivalency, meaning the GED or HiSET, we do offer that, and that's completely free for students. This is, when you're applying to jobs, you should at least have a high school diploma or equivalency. If you don't have one, I encourage you to get started as soon as you can. Career technical education, we offer Microsoft Office, accounting, QuickBooks, and then our allied health programs, which are all listed. So you guys know Microsoft Office, we have a technology for work, technology skills for work and school class happening. It's gonna be starting next week on Wednesday. It's gonna be every Wednesday for 5 weeks from 1 to 4. And it's going to cover the basics of internet, email, and then Microsoft Office, including Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. It's only $25. I encourage you guys to enroll in that class if you haven't taken it. It's definitely a great class. And then with accounting and QuickBooks, same. The enrollment for the general class has closed, but if you're interested in accounting and QuickBooks and you have, let's say, a little bit experience, you just want to freshen up your skills, let me know if there might be an opportunity for you guys to enroll in our class. Just send me an email and I'll give you my email in a bit, and I can definitely refer you to our teacher who will be able to give you more information about that. Pharmacy tech, medical billing, coding, medical assisting, they will reopen in August. Those are usually offered 2 or 3 times a year. So if you're interested in the healthcare field, I highly encourage you guys to enroll in those classes. We have English as a second language. Enrollment will be closing in maybe 2 weeks to, I think it's about 2 weeks. If you want to enroll in an ESL elective course, like the college transitions for ESL level 6, but if you want to enroll like in childcare classes or any of the other electives, definitely make sure to enroll as soon as possible. And then the IET class, or integrated education training, basically is basically like a combination of academic and career training, and that class or that program is actually integrated into our allied health. So there's an IT component to the pharmacy tech, medical billing, coding, and medical assisting. So that's for our ESL students and high school diploma students or equivalency students who are interested in going into allied health. Now, we are going to have a few more career preparations this term. Next week, we're going to be fully focused on resume preparation. So everything you need to know about preparing your resume, tips on what to include, what not to include. If you've attended one in the past, I encourage you to attend this one again. It's always great to refresh your memory on how to best improve your resume. So that's next week around this time, 12 to 1. May 6th, we're having interview preparation. So on this one, I'll teach you guys kind of the different types of interviews, and we'll definitely be focusing a little bit more on the virtual interview, right? how to interview virtually or through the phone, and we'll have a little bit of time to practice a few questions. Then we'll have a job fair preparation. I highly, highly encourage you guys to attend all of these. Why? Oh, sorry, that scared me. I highly encourage you guys to attend all these presentations because we are going to have a job fair starting job fair, I mean, in May. So we're having a job fair May 20th. Save the date, put that on your calendar, May 20th from 1 to 3. It's going to be an online job fair, so you're not going to have to leave your house. There's going to be more information coming out hopefully next week or in 2 weeks. So we highly encourage you guys to participate in all these workshops because it'll help you prepare for that job fair too. Definitely let your fellow we call it fellow students, friends, family know that we're going to have a job fair, and encourage them to get ready for that. Now that's it. Does anyone have any questions or anything that maybe any clarification? You can type your questions in the chat box. Up below here, I include contact information for 2 of the SSS representatives, Tiana Kavalakis. She works mainly with our career technical education students. So if you're in accounting or allied health, maybe the Microsoft Office students, you go to Tiana for any assistance. For me, I work a little bit more closely with the ESL and high school diploma. Same with Veronica, she'll have more of the high school diploma. But definitely save our emails if you have any questions, we can help you. Now, does anyone have any questions? You guys need clarification on anything? Nothing? Let me see. Give me 1 second as I open up the chat just to see. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you do have any questions, I just want to remind you again that we can provide you guys with individual support. So definitely send us an email. We can schedule an appointment within the next couple of weeks to help you through your job search. Again, thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good day.